streets outside. On Saturday we slide. Would you take my side? Could you be my guy? Mr. Robinson is bright. A vote for him is right. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? My neighbor type. Through the highs and lows and field is where the love still grows. The streets are calling loud. We're laughing through the crowd. Hand in hand we'll fly underneath the sky. Mr. Robinson is bright. A vote for him is right. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? My neighbor type. Through the highs and lows and field is where the love still
Yo! Let's go. Let's go. Ooh, what's up? Man, I'm so glad y'all stuck around. I'm so glad y'all waited. I know I'm late tonight. What's up? Catch my whiff. What's going on? Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a song I created on the campaign trail last year. Anyway, what's up, y'all? I'm super. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy tonight. It's big energy night. And let me tell you why it's big energy tonight. Because today has been one of those days. O-M mother and G. It's been one of those days. What's up, Kylie? I see you. Listen, this is going to be a quick, 30 minute session about my day as a black man who understands what is allowed and not allowed at North Carolina governed bodies, meaning in this case the school board of Halifax County. I want to talk about that meeting. I want to talk about the shenanigans that took place at that meeting. Oh my God, I want to talk about the whiteness that was at display at that meeting. The whiteness that was on display by someone who shouldn't even be speaking on behalf of the school board. But I'm going to get into that. I'm going to talk about all of that. But I cannot start talking about that if I don't talk about what happened in Roanoke Rapids. If you're in Halifax County, you know Roanoke Rapids is the largest city in our county. You also have to be living under a rock to not know that the mayor's wife took to her Facebook page and called and said that black people are the reason that Roanoke Rapids is downgraded, that it's bad, that it's downtrodden, that it's stressed, that it's falling apart. Not the systems that are failing people, not the systems that are not adequately providing for people's needs, because her husband is the mayor, of course. So it can't be the system. It has to be the black people. And she chose to put code language in her message. For my people that are watching me from all over this country, and some of y'all from Europe, you might not understand what we're going through in Halifax County. Let me paint a picture of my Thursday. So first of all, this woman, the mayor's wife, called her the first lady of Roanoke Rapids, The first lady of Roanoke Rapids thought it was good to put code language in her message. Hood in all caps. Black people are running it down. We ran off all the good people, the well-meaning people, the people that would invest in Roanoke Rapids. So you're telling me that somebody bought buildings in Roanoke Rapids, white people, and let them go bad because they don't like black people? Or black people made them leave? You mean to tell me white people are now spending their money and walking away from it because black people are in spaces? Because if that's the case, I'm going to get real close to the White House and pray that Donald Trump walk his ass away. Is that how it works? I just take my blackness close to white people and they just walk away from their investments. That's the ridiculousness at which this woman was speaking to us on her Facebook page today. I already spoke about that. That was an earlier live. You guys should check that out. I was leaving my doctor's appointment and I wanted to say it. But I wanted to paint the picture on how this day started for me. How this day started for me. And I should have known that that was going to be a clue for how whiteness was going to be on display today. But before I get to the whiteness at the meeting, I want to say something, and I need people to hear me clearly. And I need you people to hear me very clearly, because sometimes people miss what I'm saying. I really do believe people be well intended sometimes in their motives. And I don't know this person, so I'm not going to call their name because they may not want the spotlight of me running my mouth about them. And because I think they meant well, I'm just going to say how I feel about some of what they wrote. There was this long post about the mayor's wife. Someone speaking out about her. But the way they did it was very passive. They didn't call her name. They didn't point to her post. They talked around the issue. And they started out saying, oh, let's not talk about race. Or they said it a different way. They said it in the way that we always hear it. I don't see color. Problems don't see color. Trouble don't see color. So what happens to that, when I hear that, I hear people talking to me about not seeing color, which is absolutely impossible. Everybody sees color. So basically what you're telling black people, what you're telling us is forever, we've already experienced what it means to be white through our school books, through the history they taught us in those schools, through the European lens at which they tell everything in the history of this nation and most nations, and also TV for most of our lives was a white thing. So we already knew and know what it means to live in a white life in America. But when it's time for white people to see themselves or see through the lens of other people, you're telling me we don't need to see color. Not to mention, people like me, people of color, love themselves. But you're telling me the only way to be in community with somebody that is white so that they are not offended is to not see color. It is also disrespectful to the lived experience of black people and brown people and other marginalized people to say that you don't see color in this country when this country actually shows you that it sees color. And if we are the only people not seeing color and still being treated this way, isn't it time that we start seeing color? Shouldn't we see color too? Because it looks like everybody else is seeing color. Definitely these systems that continue to treat black people one way and other people better, them systems definitely are seeing color. So I get your motive and trying to tell people to unite around the issues and address the issues. But there's a way that you can do that. You can say it just like that without all of that I don't see color language. All of that I don't see color language tells me you are afraid to have this real conversation because you may offend somebody white. And here's what I would say. All of my well-meaning, progressive-minded, and white people who care about other white people are not offended when you talk about racism because that's not who they are. It's not their core. And even if they slip up and racism happens or slip out their mouth and you correct them on it, they're not offended. They may be upset or their feelings may be hurt that they let someone they care about down, but these people are not offended by the truth. These people are not offended by the truth because they know that's not what you're talking about. They know that you're not talking about them. They understand that. They understand that. So those people who are muddying the water, who are dirtying what we're trying to do as it pertains to bringing us closer to equity, in order to do that, you have to be able to be upfront and outright with the language and dancing around the issue, not calling out people for what they do, makes it harder to hear you as a truth speaker. You don't sound like a truth speaker when you're not calling out names and telling people the truth about what is being said and done. So while I applaud that brother for writing that message and taking his time because it was a beautiful message, I do not applaud the need to talk about this race neutral language because I love my blackness. And when somebody loves me, I want them to love me with my blackness, not despite of my blackness or in spite of my blackness. I want you to love me, including it. Don't be colorblind when you see me, because to not understand my blackness is not to understand my entire existence. So I don't want to be colorblind, and I don't want to live in a world without color. I want to live in a world where color does not determine how people's lives will be lived, how systems interact with people. That's a space that I want to live in. And speaking about systems and how they interact with people, let me tell y'all about this mother effing Halifax County School District meeting today. First of all, it was a special call meeting that I tried to speak at and found out that they do not allow people to speak at special call meetings, which was interesting and still is interesting to me because it's not in any rules I could find that you can't speak at a special call meeting. I followed the procedure. Their procedure is if you want to speak, you need to call 30 minutes before the meeting and talk to the clerk and tell her you want to speak. I did that a few hours before. Still, they said no one can speak at special call meetings from the public. Well, I'll be fine. That was the first crazy part. The second part was as soon as the meeting got started, one of the board members tried to filibuster the idea of a special meeting by lying. Mind you, this board member was sitting right next to the board's so-called attorney, lying and misrepresenting what North Carolina law says about special call meetings and who has the right to call them. If you are a town, if you are a town, and you're the mayor, the person who is the mayor can actually call a special call meeting as long as they give the notice of 48 hours. You can call it by yourself. You don't need a majority. This person sat there. This board member sat there and lied and tried to confuse the new board chair and tell him he did not have the authority to call a special call meeting without getting a majority vote, because she was mixing up the words, telling him that it doesn't say the chair can do it. She was like, the chair can only do it if the board requested, if a majority of the board requested. So he was the chair literally called for a vote for his meeting to make it a real meeting while the meeting was going on, after it had already been called. And the attorney sat there while all this shenanigans was going on and didn't say a damn thing. Mind you, this district is almost 100% white. I'm sorry, 100% black almost. There are some Native brothers and sisters. There are a few white people in the district as well. So it's not 100% white. But it's majority, overwhelming 90+% black. Okay? The board is 100% black and brown people, Native people, except for the attorney who's white. Sat there, didn't say a damn thing while this woman was misquoting North Carolina General Statute about special meetings. Anyway, they get past that. They get in the middle of requesting, one of the board members requested, Commissioner Terry Silver requested get ready for this, guys, a external audit because There's rumblings throughout the district that there's been some mishandling of funds. There's been people hiring contracts without board approval. And if anybody knows anything about North Carolina law, when it comes to school boards, anybody spending money or hiring contractors without the board's permission has violated not just some kind of civic or civil law, you violated law, like criminal law. You have went against the law. So there's that to be dealt with. This internal audit, it's gonna happen. The motion eventually passed, but not before the person who also was passing out that fake information try to interject again. Not table the motion, not point of order, just started talking about random stuff. About literally trips to the moon or something. I'm clueless about what she was talking about. In the middle of a vote. And the attorney is sitting right there allowing it to happen. The new chair is looking baffled a little bit about what the hell is going on. And this woman is just taking over the meeting. No, there's no decorum in the meeting. It's free for all. Another commissioner tried to force them to amend the motion. So they actually amend the motion to what he said. And then when they re-second the friendly amendment, that male commissioner, tried to force the boy to vote both on the amendment and the original motion, which is ridiculous because the original motion no longer exists because now it's an amended motion. So, and it literally was going on. The attorney sitting right there with his hand with his head down, not saying a damn thing. The chair looks at him and says, "Attorney," he says, "it's an amended motion with a friendly motion. You don't have to do that." So they vote. Terry Silver tries to offer another motion. This motion is to put the superintendent on administrative leave. Put the superintendent on administrative leave because the financial audit, to protect the integrity of the audit, she wanted him not to have access to people and also the documents. She didn't want anything destroyed, not implying that he would, but for the safety and also for the looks of this audit, she wanted it to put him on administrative leave with full pay until the audit was over. And if nothing was irregular, she stated verbatim, "I will stand up beside him and defend him. But until this is over, until this investigation is over, he needs to be away from the systems. He needs to turn over access to everything." And the vote had begun. And then the attorney, out of his slumber, screams, smacks his hand on the table. Mind you, he's a white man talking to a woman of color. Screaming, slapping his hand on the table. Now, this is the same person who was sitting beside a person that was lying about North Carolina General Statute, and he said nothing. So for the people who don't know, this guy, the attorney, is completely friendly and allied with the superintendent, which is obvious how he quickly animated. He animates himself and starts screaming, "You can't do this. You can't vote about something that's not on the agenda." Well, it actually is on the agenda because the audit was the reason for the agenda. You don't have to put any motions on the agenda. Motions come up out of the conversations about the topics that are on the agenda. The motion was made to protect the audit that had just been voted on through the first motion, which passed with the majority of the board. So the attorney, not happy that the people are going to continue to vote, he keeps screaming over them. Mind you, this attorney put in his resignation on August the 1st, so I still don't understand why he's still there. He goes on and gets even angrier, slams his hand on the table again, and says, "If you vote on this and pass, the school board, the state school board, is going to be here tomorrow." Interesting. The state school board is going to be here tomorrow if you vote on this. and it passed. Y'all remember that whiteness I was telling you that was on display? It wasn't just this attorney with all of his lies and ridiculousness as it pertains to what is plausible and also possible and also legal or standard or with good standing or in good standing at a board meeting. It's also the fact that he just threatened an all black and brown duly elected school board that some old white people from the state were going to come down if they made a decision that he didn't like against somebody that he's allied with. Listen to what I'm telling you. The state board, he just threatened black people who were elected by black and brown people. That white people from the state were going to come down and take over or overturn anything you want to do. This is what animated the white attorney, not the lies that was being told while he was sitting right beside Commissioner Carolyn Hawkins. That's the commissioner that was saying the wrong information. And I don't know if she just didn't understand the law, and I'm not calling her a liar. I am saying that she was lying because what she was saying was not true. So I'm not going to make up a new word and say that it was a whatever they made up for Donald Trump. It was the wrong information. If you're saying the wrong information, you are lying. What's at stake is serious. And this is what happens when secrecy is the motor operandi of a public information, a public entity. Let me say it clearer for you. Halifax County board members are saying that they've been asking the board members that came in with the last board, not this new board, those that have been there like 3 years, have saying they've been asking to see the contract for the superintendent. First of all, this is public information. The fact that they've been asking for 3 years and don't know or didn't know what his salary was blows my mind because that's public information. Actually, if you work for the government in North Carolina, it's public information. So it came out that this superintendent is making over $200,000. Now, some people, I know some of y'all are listening to me from big cities. I know some of you all are listening to me from extra large cities with mega school districts. This is not the case. Halifax County has 11 schools and like 2,400 students, which means that superintendent's per student pay is like $120 per student. Where if you look at Charlotte, the per student pay for that superintendent is like $2.07. If you look at Raleigh, which is our largest school district, that pay is like $2.60. If you look at Durham, it's like $8 per student. So our superintendent in our very poor school district is making $120 per student. Damn near. If anybody believe that's okay, if you believe that this school district that is the size, that is not even a quarter of the size of Charlotte or Raleigh or Durham, and our superintendent's salary should be close to his, then you don't understand what it takes to run rural businesses, or in this case, institutions to educate our students. Mind you, I was telling you all that we were the #1 county for Rosenwald schools, meaning we had more Rosenwald schools than anywhere else. And I hope y'all did your homework and went and Googled what was a Rosenwald school. We had 46 of them. At the time, in the 1920s, when we had 46 Rosenwald schools, we were educating 2,400 students, right around that same number. Right. That's a real wow. So they have a right to ask. First of all, they're the governing body. This shouldn't even been this shouldn't even been a contentious meeting. But people got questions because we're gonna ask. People need to know, how are you scheduling an hour and 30-minute? Listen to me, an hour and 30-minute closed session meeting every month before your monthly meeting. So for people that don't understand, closed session in North Carolina, according to the open rules, the open meeting laws, it says you cannot be in closed session talking about anything other than two reasons: personnel or consult with an attorney. And it has to be explicit. So if you say I'm talking to my attorney, you have to list the lawsuit, what the lawsuit is about on the meeting, and then go in there and only talk about that. If it's a personnel issue, you have to be specific, not the personnel's name, but you have to be specific about the issue. And it can't be a group of personnel. It has to be a single person. And you go in there, you talk about that, and you come out. That's it. You cannot schedule the same amount of time to have a closed session for the past 10 years. Also, people don't know this, but closed session minutes become public once the reason for them being closed session has been cured. So if there's a lawsuit and it happened in closed session and you were discussing it, once that lawsuit is settled, that minutes becomes public information. So we need to see that. All of those. Even the information about personnel becomes public, minus their name and any other identifying information. You redact that. So nothing stays permanently hidden behind the wall of closed session. Yet and still, these people have been having all these meetings. So these people have the right, these new board members have the right to know, one, what the salary of the superintendent is. Our school district is not a high performing school district. So we want to know, is he getting bonuses and how and what are they determined about? And also if he's had raises, because the board is not voted on raises. Actually, the board is not voted on raises for anybody at central office. So if anybody got a raise, those raises are stealing or spending of public money without the public board that's supposed to govern that by law, North Carolina law. Those are damning issues. Those are real questions. Those are things that people have the right to be concerned about. So to have an attorney threaten black people by saying, I'm going to call white people from Raleigh. Those weren't his words. His words are, I'm going to call the state board and they'll be here tomorrow. That's still saying, I'm going to call white people and they'll be here tomorrow. That is to say that the black vote means nothing. That is to say that the people that were elected to be these people representative, the people of Halifax County, your representatives, have been told that they can't do anything unless Larry Armstrong approve of it. And if they do something he don't approve of, he's going to try to threaten them by scaring them with the state board of education. And that, to me, y'all, is the white supremacy that was on display today. The idea that black people do not have agency. So when I hear people talking about the districts being redrawn all over this country, I'm concerned about that too, because this county I'm talking to you about is a county where the district has been redrawn. They took 300,000 black people out of this district. But when the national media talk about these districts being redrawn, that's all they talk about. They don't talk about all of the white supremacy that is affecting people's lives daily, like this. The governing body of a school district has been threatened by an attorney that resigned 12 days ago. Still just showing up, sitting in there, speaking about stuff that affects his friend, the superintendent, and nothing else. Because he wasn't in there doing the business of the town, of the school district when this commissioner was speaking all out of order, or any of them were. The meeting was so ruckus, I got up and walked out. And I told them, you guys are playing with policies and procedures in a way that's going to harm these kids. because of egos, because of friendships. We need to start learning how to govern without this idea of friendships. Because the way I govern is you could be my best friend sitting beside me at a town meeting as one of the commissioners. But the minute you do something that's anti-good, anti-progressive for the people of Enfield, I'm gonna put your ass on blast immediately. So just know that. The minute you stop working for my people, is the limit of that's the limit. That's the extent to which we are friendly. You can't threaten black people in a district that is a majority black county and white people are running amok. Not all white people. And I don't even know why I need to say that. Because people know there's great white people in Halifax County. But it's also those who are doing harm that are trying to weaponize their connections at the state level to threaten black people to keep the status quo the way it is. Well, we got questions we need to ask about the status quo and the way it is. And somebody's got to answer them. We need to get organized beyond the point where these people can throw their weight around like this. Because if that was the town meeting, that town attorney, even if he didn't resign, would be fired. One, for smashing his hand and screaming and pointing his finger at a school board member after the meeting. And then, and this is how I'm gonna leave it with y'all for this evening. That if that man was not the age he was after the meeting, I was talking to the board chair about what North Carolina General Statute says about who can call a meeting. And he put his hands on my hand and told me, I'm talking to another black man or a man of color. I'm talking to another black man. And this man touches me. This white attorney to put his hands on me, on my hand, and try to tell me he don't need you to talk to him. Go ahead and go away. I told him straight up, I'm talking to a black man. This ain't your meeting. The meeting's over. Don't ever touch me, and don't try to tell me who I can and can't talk to, because you sat there and allowed that BS to carry on. I'm from this county. Larry Armstrong is from that county. He knows the people, the farm, the family, where my granddad was a sharecropper, where my uncle got a felony conviction, where my dad got felony conviction for standing up to white men touching them. He know damn well you ain't gonna touch me and just touch me. And if he don't know, he should have known. And if I felt like any of it could have been a threat, that whole outcome could have been completely different. This idea that you think you can touch people. This is the second time a white person from my community this year, in less than a year, one of them told me, like I told y'all last night, I'm jealous because I'm not white and I want to be white. And I need to move back to the black part of town. It's Enfield. We 90% black. Everywhere is the black part of town. And now this man touched me. After he slammed his hand on the desk talking to a woman of color. And then after the meeting, he accosted her, went and got in her face and put his finger in her face until she had to remind him of the information that she had on him that could probably bring problems for him legally. So yeah, they called for a forensic audit, and that motion passed. The rest of the meeting, like I said, was white supremacy on display. I'm Mondale Robinson, y'all. Y'all have a good evening. Please don't let people do to you what they can't do to you. Peace.
For all the folks outside, on Saturday we slide. Would you take my side? Could you be my guide? Mr. Robinson is bright. A vote for him is right. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? My neighbor type. Through the highs and lows and field is where the love still grows. The streets are calling